All right, outdoorsmen, just want to chat briefly about our trip from Cavan to Newgrange and that overall experience. We were able to go to the Newgrange passage tomb. It was built, estimated, in the 3200 BC time frame. And if that is really the case, it was built before Stonehenge or the Egyptian pyramids. It was super cool in that, based on what I've read, it is aligned with the winter solstice so that the sun shines in the top of the area and lights up the entire inner chamber. And it is the main passage tomb in County Meath. To go along with that, I want you to go ahead and take an opportunity as you see birds to see if you can identify them before I do. I'll be sharing what I believe they are at the end of the video. The other thing that I wanted to chat briefly about was the Slane Castle. It was owned by the Cunningham family and it was built in the late 1780s. It now has a distillery on it. We would have loved to visit there. I have learned to grow very fond of the Irish whiskey. But the downside is that it was only open on weekends and we were there through the middle of the week. So, as always, let's get outdoors. All right, outdoorsmen, here you can see their far blacker crow. And that one is getting ready to build a nest. All right, outdoorsmen, today we are at the Newgrange burial site. The place is supposedly older than Stonehenge and the pyramids. Unfortunately, we couldn't get tickets to get in, so put this on the list for the next time. We are truly in the countryside of Ireland now. In the distance there you can see some sheep. I would imagine that is another one of the ancient burial sites. Down in the distance with some sheep as well.
Yeah, that's what happened. So, no, they took this up.
All right, outdoorsmen, we are coming up to the visitor center at the Battle of the Boyne. There's my brother-in-law, my lovely wife, and my sister-in-law. Weirdo. Here's what a stable would have looked like back in the late 17th century during the Battle of the Boyne. All right, outdoorsmen, we are in the gardens at the Boyne, and we're going to take a quick walk around because a shower has started. It would be fun to do if you were retired, but this would be an awful lot to maintain if you had a full-time job too. All right, outdoorsmen, this is where the actual battle took place. Much of it took place out that direction, where the main forces came toward us, and then behind us a secondary force came in and attacked, and ultimately led to the defeat after the Jacobites retreated to this area and were forced to surrender. All right, outdoorsmen, totally different experience being indoors and outdoors, driving on the left side of the road instead of the right. So, trying to get the hang of this. Okay, outdoorsmen, based on what I believe I saw and the research that I've done, the blue eyes and the grayish feathers of the bird that was building the nest, I believe was certainly a jackdaw. I would say that when we were going through the Battle of Boyne exhibit, which was super cool, there were some sayings there that I think need to certainly have some bearing out. Flash in the pan is something that you have heard probably many times. And what that meant was that in the old days with flintlock rifles, when the flint would strike the other stone, a spark would form and it would drop down into the flash pan. The flash pan was then designed to funnel the fire that was produced into the end of the barrel and produce the actual gun going off. I'm also sure that you've heard the saying lock, stock, and barrel. That's one that also relates to military history. And with that one, the lock system was what actually fired the gun. The stock was the wooden part that you held on to when the gun was being fired, and the barrel obviously was the portion of the gun that actually held the bullet and then delivered it downrange. Another one was bigwig. That one seems kind of obvious, but people that were able to afford large powdered wigs had way more money than those that could not afford that. And then the last one, hold your horses. That was one that was common, and it pertained to the cavalry. And many times the cavalry were used in decisive ways to end battles, where they were staged on flanks or at the heart. And when the infantry were in dire straits, they were sent in from the flanks to cause disarray or down the center of the enemy lines to lead to the ultimate defeat of the enemy. So there you go. There are some sayings that are relative to military history that certainly have bearing on how we say things today. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I very much enjoyed putting it together and going through the experience. And as always, until next time, get outdoors.